Hi everyone, this is your daily tarot reading for Thursday the 12th of April. Thank you for joining me. It's a pleasure to be with you. I'm using the Shadowscapes deck again for today's reading. Let's have a look at what the cards want you to be aware of and what energy you'll be working with. So let's have a look. So we have the Two of Cups, the Five of Swords, and the Three of Pentacles. Interesting. And I love this deck. It's so ethereal and everything flows. It's so feminine and beautiful. Okay, first of all, the Two of Cups is like it's the minor arcana version of the Lovers in the major arcana. And it represents temporary love. It represents infatuation, even obsession. So it's this kind of wood nymph here falling in love with this air spirit or elemental, or it could be a water elemental. And what they're doing is they're connecting intensely on an emotional level, and they really experience strong chemistry and love for each other, and sparks are flying, and both of them are really into it, and there's a lot of kind of interest in getting nearer to one another, being together, and really combining yourself with something outside of yourself to create something bigger than just you on your own, to intertwine with something else. So what you'll find today is, again, well, first and foremost, is that your feelings are heightened and very, very strong, and that you're really obsessed or in love with something that's in your life, and that you really find that controls your thinking, and you really focus on something to the point of obsession, and you really become interested in it. So your emotions overwhelm you a little bit today, and it becomes a bit much, and you form this temporary, intense, super intense bond with either another person in your life or with something in your life, an activity that you love doing, a job that you really care about, a piece of art or a project that you're working on, which totally just possesses you today and asks you to give all of your energy and really devote yourself fully. That's what you'll notice. The next card is the Five of Swords, and the Five of Swords is about conflict, it's about fighting, it's about competition, and it's about beating other people out so that you win. And it's a war of words and ideas, because swords rules the element of air. So when it comes to your communication with other people, because you're so emotionally involved in your own story, you may find it difficult to get your thoughts and your words across clearly and in a way that makes sense to other people. It may be tinged and laced with too much emotion, so other people react to what you're saying strangely. So either they will see a weakness or a flaw, which encourages them to kind of have conflict with you and attack you in some way, or they pick up on the fact that you're overly emotional and that they can take advantage of you in some way. It's not a great day to work with others in the sense where you're relying on them fully, or where you put your trust in people completely blindly and hand everything over to another person, because other people aren't going to have your best interest at heart today. Everyone is really involved in their own emotional story, and they want to focus on what they're doing. So keep communication with other people to a minimum if you can. Remember also that Mercury is in retrograde at the moment, so communication is difficult and stifled anyway. Focus on your feelings, because that's what's going to be super clear to you, and try and manage your emotions so that you're not overwhelmed by them, or that you're not kind of forced to take action on your feelings because they're so intense that you have no other choice. Instead of having conflict with other people, try and use your emotional passion and power and translate it into some sort of expertise. We've still got these two lovers here together, but we've got a chameleon there. So this romantic energy can be transformed like a chameleon into Pentacles energy, which is the energy of work and practicality and building things and making things happen in a practical sense. So whatever it is you're in love with, or whoever it is you're in love with and who you feel so intensely about, put yourself in the position and in the role of the expert and look at it from the point of view of how can I build this and make it more solid and make it more consistent in my life. So if it's a project, how can I apply myself to this project today and work at it to complete it? So if it's a sculpture or a piece of art, you can actually pick up a paintbrush and your paints and work at it all day and get it finished. If it's a relationship, what can I do to make this relationship more permanent? And how can I translate this sudden, intense energy into something more stable? So let's talk to each other. Let's do something real together to see if there's actually a future between us, or if as soon as we start talking to each other, there's total miscommunication and everything goes wrong. So when it comes to relationships, it's a good opportunity to find other ways of communicating and to be open to another person's perspective. That's what Mercury in retrograde does. Yes, it creates problems when it comes to travel and computers and phones and things like that not working and being a little bit difficult, emails going awry. But it's also very positive in the sense that you're forced to think differently and you're forced to communicate differently. So today, the emotions aren't going to stay out of your communication anyway. But if you are in a situation where you're getting to know someone, it might be helpful to you to actually listen to what this person says. And whereas you wouldn't have understood that when Mercury was direct because it's out of your comfort zone, you may have the patience and the perspective and the ability to actually hear that person for what they're saying today and to hear it with your feelings as well as your mind, and to really open up to a new way of seeing the world and seeing another person. That can make you closer, and you can work towards creating more permanence in a relationship by discovering that this person either taught you something or they opened your eyes to a whole new thing in life, and they really allowed you to step out of your comfort zone and discover something new. If the love is for career and work, then look again at making yourself the specialist and looking at your career from the perspective of, okay, I'm doing this job, what's the next step up? And then making inroads to get to that next step up in your job, whether it's more pay or whether it's taking on more responsibility in your existing role, or asking your manager to allow you to do extra work in another area so that you can move towards taking the next step up. It's really a day of listening to your feelings but working with them so that they don't overwhelm you, avoiding conflict and avoiding miscommunications, listening to your own feelings and being practical about those feelings and trying to channel them into some sort of constructive state, so that rather than being flooded with this tsunami of feeling, which is just like, oh, I'm paralyzed by my own emotions here, you try and channel them into something productive so that you can actually get something good out of the day, and that you can transform something that feels totally overwhelming and intense, and that you transform it into something that is efficient and allows you to be prolific and productive in the real world on this day. So number-wise, we've got 2 and 5 is 7, and 3 is 10. 10 reduces to 1 in numerology, and 1 is about new beginnings and independence. So you have to find a way of managing this by yourself. It's also a day of focusing on yourself and being a magician in a sense. The number 1 in numerology is like the magician in the tarot, and the magician is all about listening to your feelings and your divine guidance, and then using what you have at your disposal to create something magical and wonderful in your real life. So it's down to you. No one's going to do the work for you. You have to look at things from your own unique perspective, get the answers yourself, make meaning and sense out of what's going on, and really put on your expert hat and see if there is conflict involved or not when you get things going, and to listen to those messages. So especially in relationships, if there is conflict, then that's a red flag that this may not work out. If you do learn something totally new and you find a new perspective, then that's the green light to move forward with it. And like I already said, work, projects, really get that productive side of yourself going and make things happen. Be a magician. So that's what I get for you on this day. If you would like a private reading with me, then please get in touch via my website. It's gregoryscott.com. Click on the readings tab to order a reading with me. Please remember to subscribe to this YouTube channel, and I'll speak to you tomorrow.